gentlemen, welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falak Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions, by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry heavyweight on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Anand Khot. Hello, welcome, Mr. Khot. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Hi, Falak. Equally glad to be with you and with our audience today. Looking forward to our conversation.
So let me give you a quick brief about Mr. Anand Khot. He is a high-impact leader with over 2 decades of global experience in driving HR initiatives and delivering business results. Owing to his great expertise in HR transformation, organization design, and strategic planning, he has successfully led initiatives in mergers and acquisitions, apt workforce management, global expansion, digitization, compliance, and cultural change. Currently, he is serving as a director at Production Modeling India Private Limited. In addition to this, he is also a National General Secretary and a board member of National HRD Network. So, Mr. Khot, could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far?
Sure, Falak. I think the career started as early as '93. So you mentioned 2 decades, but now 3 decades, are almost over, and it appears as if the whole thing started. The journey started just like day before yesterday. So it has been an exciting ride for last 30 years. Initially, I began my career in sales. Subsequently, I transitioned into talent acquisition world, and in mid to late 90s, when IT industry was taking its birth in India, I was fortunate to be part of it. From '97 onwards, I started working in IT industry initially in talent acquisition function, then transitioned to business partnering, and then subsequently went to UK to work at London, as part of the global expansion as well. So from a organization's perspective, I having worked for 30 years, I could work only with 3 to 4 organizations. Maybe slightly an unusual case in today's time for such a long career. So worked with Patni Computers initially in India as well as in UK. Then joined Dell in UK for almost about 7 years, and then subsequently worked with IBM here in India, and now as a director leading functions like HR, finance, internal functions as an enablement functions at Production Modeling India. Plus, the exciting journey of volunteering with NHRDN has been going on since 2015. By virtue of that, I have been the board member at NHRDN for last about 6 years, and recently, got this responsibility to be the National General Secretary as well. So had lots of exciting experiences, some ups and downs, and the downs have taught more than the ups, to say the least, to make who I am today after this 30 years of journey. I hope that gives some sense of what the life and career has been. In between, I was fortunate to be part of London 2012 Olympic as a volunteer for international relations and protocol team for my own sports, which was handball and basketball, for both Olympic as well as Paralympic. So I think, uh, to say the least, it's been a busy career and life, and I've been blessed with lots of opportunities to try my skills at.
That's really very great and a very interesting career journey, I must say, so far. So you have
Yes.
handled yes. So you have handled several functions within the role. Which of them have you enjoyed the most and why?
I would call out couple of them. Yes, I managed multiple functions, but one of the key highlight would be the merger and acquisitions, which I, used to take care with, while working with Dell. There, the beauty was that we were acquiring boutique tech firms. More importantly, the networking and cloud side of firms, and understanding the business imperatives of those organizations who are joining Dell, and understanding the strategy what Dell had, making the a proper collaboration between the two. And as you can imagine, people coming from startup culture, and joining large conglomerates like Dell would mean that there were a lot of anxious moments for such leaders and employees. There were also cultural alignments which needed to be done between the two businesses, and that gave me a lot of high, so to say, while working through the mergers, and that too, it was in the complex European legal framework. So that added to the flavor of the work which we were doing. Similarly, business strategies from people point of view, either it may be initiation of a new business or expanding a business in different territories, into different geographies. I think those are the elements which I really thrive, and I get significantly motivated while driving those. Having said that, such opportunities are also, they are they are they are so-called cherries, on the top. On a day-to-day stuff, you have to make sure that the overall business operations run smoothly. Your regular deployment initiatives and engagements are run well. So that, not that I don't enjoy that, but if along with that, if some of these challenging tasks come in, then it makes the whole mix very, very exciting and interesting. I hope that that gives you sufficient, sufficient perspectives about my highs and exciting elements of my career.
So that's really very wonderful. So now we want to know like what are some learnings that help you in your day-to-day professional chores?
Sure, I think it's a very apt question after the the interesting areas and the the excitement elements of my career. As you can imagine, it would I would say it's about almost 70 to 80% is the day-to-day stuff. For making sure that the lights are on, everybody is engaged well, focused on the deliverables, and then the remaining, those 15 to 20% are those strategic initiatives. I think being empathetic with all the stakeholders involved is the first thing which I keep in mind, because they are operating from different predicaments while doing their stuff, and many a times those are challenging tasks and activities. Secondly, I would say staying focused on one task at a time, because during the a day of, let's say, 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever number of hours we work, there can be a lot of distractions while you're trying to get something done. I think of a day like a test match, like in cricket, where they have sessions, right? So you have a morning session, you have a pre-lunch, post-lunch, you have a tea, and then end of the day. So like that way, I try to chunk my days, in those small packs, with respect to calls, getting decisions made, and try to be as holistic as possible in decision making process, keeping in mind the near term immediate resolution versus the long term strategic objective. These are some of the some of the things I keep in mind while carrying out my day to day professional chores.
That's really very great to know indeed. So we want to know like how did you develop a liking for ESG and corporate governance?
Thank you. I think that's the question of the decade, I would say, if not a century. It will become a question of a
Right,
century in due
right,
course. I think since United Nations started coining this term, in 2004, and then it became a bit more specific in 2006 onwards. Initially, I followed the element of diversity and inclusion, to be fair, from 2009 onwards. That's when I got introduced to this particular topic. And if you consider our Indian ethos and our traditions, we have this element of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We have the element of overall inclusion, including the environment and the community and the society at large while carrying out our businesses. And it's great that it has become a formal, almost I would say a formal structure or a requirement for the business to conduct. By keeping in mind that how sustainable we are we inclusive about taking care of the interest of diverse elements of the community, at large. And though the capitalistic thought process needs to focus on revenue, profit, expansion, but it is very, very important that at what cost. If it
right.
is at the cost of environment, if it is at the cost of the some sort of a indirect or a direct harm to the society and community, and the governance is not necessarily transparent, then I think such businesses will, in my opinion, may not grow and achieve their potential. So, if you have a great idea, if you have a great product, and you want that idea or a product to really scale high in the marketplace, then ESG is a critical component, and it is not an optional thing. It is a must-have, and by virtue of it becoming mandatory with respect to disclosures, by virtue of it becoming part of the overall governance process, I think we'll be doing a great service to our society. We'll definitely be doing a responsible act towards the next generations, by being very focused on ESG. So that's my view about ESG. And I think personally, the reason for getting involved in the volunteering work is to at least, give my personal contribution towards the S part of, ESG. Environment, definitely I'm conscious within the scope of things which I can do. And on the G side, being a director now in the current organization and being part of the national board, we strive to see, how best practices can be implemented, how they can be shared with the larger audience so that they get inspired and they embrace it, so that overall economic activity has the integration of ESG for greater good of community and greater good of the businesses at large. That's
Yes.
my perspective, and also my passion. I would say now, having come to this stage of life, as I take my career further ahead, whatever little contribution I can make towards this cause will
Yes.
only create that sense of purpose and satisfaction in me.
As an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring along to the corporate world?
Thank you, Palak, for that question. I definitely want to say that I am not an expert, or I am afraid to say I am an expert in ESG. I am, I have done few things in life, so to say, and I'm also acquiring depth in ESG as a topic. But the value which I can bring to the community is the personal passion I have towards this topic, my ability to decipher uh, things which can get camouflaged under the ESG umbrella. Many a times, for the purpose of wanting to look good on paper, certain activities and actions can be taken. But wherever I am involved, as a board member or as a mentor for the startups and stuff like that, I make sure that there is a razor focus, and the true purpose of ESG is met through the practices which the organization is taking. Sometimes it's a hard work, but I'm convinced that that hard work pays off well in long run. And I think I do take a stab to convince the CEOs and the startup owners to embrace such practices, so that collectively we can create better value, for our customers and other stakeholders.
Yes, definitely. So,
Thank you.
when we talk about technology, we want to know like what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology, and what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, and Web 3.0?
Perfect. And I think, having spent over a quarter of a century in tech industry, I think this is a very, very valuable question. I can take a slightly historic perspective. I mean, I joined the industry in 1997. Many of these terms like IoT, Web3, and all of that were not part of the
Right.
day-to-day conversation.
Yes.
But the growth what we see with respect to technological advancement in last, let's say, 12 to 14 years has been exponential. The advent of data, advent of cloud, and IoT will only help accelerate the ESG imperatives, much further. Because earlier, for collecting an information or making sense out of that and creating the insights or actionable insights was an extremely time-taking activity. But today, if we implement the right, let's say, IT systems within the organizations, it becomes more or less a click of a button sort of a situation for getting actionable insights. And this is not necessarily only available for the large organizations or those who have, let's say, deeper pockets. The advent of cloud has democratized technology across various segments. So today you will have a small and medium sector organization using a kind of a high tech, high touch system similar to a multinationals or a global firm, and both of them are equally equipped in handling complex data sets and things like that. Also, if you see in the manufacturing sort of an environment, where I want to give a reference of IoT, that the so-called distance between the head office to the shop floor has significantly reduced, because the IoT devices which are interacting with the machines are able to communicate with the larger organizational tech systems, which may be thousands of miles away. And
Right.
so that's the IoT piece from the real time communication, real time decision making perspective. Similarly, if you consider the artificial intelligence, and if you create algorithms which can raise a necessary yellow and the red flag from environment and social elements. So let's take an example of expression, or the analytics on the emotions being expressed at workplace through various types of communications, verbal as well as written, will give you a lot of those insights which otherwise would have lost in transit, within the organizational four walls. And I think if we implement all these tools in the right manner, with the right purpose and intent, it will serve many organizations well. Lot of ESG expectations can be integrated with these technological advancements, and I think technology will act as a real boon for various companies, not only to have a better governance, better profitability, but in the process of serving the community better as well. You know.
So, as you
So,
know, we are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So, what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hemal Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
kudos and congratulations to the entire World Development Corporation team, and the sort of a leadership move which we are creating through this community development. There is a saying, and if I can, use that statement, there is a saying in Marathi that "Ekameka sahaya karu avge dharu supantha." What it means is that we help each other and collectively we make progress. And I think the community what has been created, has similar intentions, because these global initiatives like ESG or diversity and inclusion and stuff like that, if they become part of one community, one society, or one organization, it will not necessarily create the large scale impact which it's supposed to create. But when you make it as a community initiative, uh, people are people will join this community without thinking about their individual interest and their individual organizational interest. Obviously those will be protected and the conflict of interest will be taken care of, but the larger good of the society, the larger good of the business community is at the heart of what has been done. And we are drawing expertise from various facets of the community to help those who need it, because let's say, how many organizations, especially at a MSME level, and if we take an example of India, I think 30% of the GDP is coming from MSMEs. Not each and every organization will afford to have, let's say, an ESG expert full time working with them. But through the World Development Corporation, if we are able to provide them that excess of knowledge, they can be benefited, and then collectively rest of the economy of India can also be served better. So I think definitely a very worthwhile initiative, and I think it should gather as much as momentum as possible. And I would say more power to World Development Corporation and people like you who are taking this agenda ahead.
That's really really kind words by you, I must say. So it was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Anand Khot, for joining us today. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. And all the wonderful teachings, the different principles that you shared, that you live by, the values that you plan to bring to the table, I'm sure like everyone watching this, it is going to help them grow in their careers as well. So thank you so much for being here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you, Falak. It has been a great conversation with you. All the very best.
Thank you.